processing, but just maybe not in quite as, probably not as like a tool or instrument heavy way, so to speak.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome to this week's episode of Live Local. I'm your host Sean Savitt with LIVLOCAL Real Estate, and I couldn't be more excited for today's interview. I am here with Sam and Lynn from Wild and Precious Optimal Living. Thank you guys for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We're super excited to be here.
And like I was saying, I'm very excited for this interview, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. How did you first get into this?
Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Well, it really began with Sam and I. What we have in common as a chiropractic couple is we both grew up with chiropractors in our lives. We were both seeing chiropractors at a young age, and I personally during college was actually seeing a chiropractor. And when it came to college and trying to decide what route I wanted to take, I was looking for something that's more of a practice that would look at people, spending more time with people is one of the key components that I really loved about working with the chiropractor. And then being able to take a look at the whole person. And so that really shifted my trajectory towards that. It's just more being able to provide a natural care, and that's how I got into the field that we're in right now. And
Yeah.
Sam, same for you?
Yeah, and both our families had a pretty strong background in natural health. Like, running to grab a medication wasn't the first solution towards, hey, when you're sick. So we had that really in common when we met. And that's just something that we've carried forward, going to help our patients and clients. And we both really wanted to help people, and it was just in a way of how can we do this in a natural, drug-free manner.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you guys a curveball,
Okay.
because this is the first time I've done an interview like in this dynamic. Husband and wife working together.
Yeah.
What is that like?
We're still together.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you share a passion. So
Yes.
you have that, and then you're also working together.
We're also parents too,
Yeah,
so
we're
we have
parents.
that as well. It's definitely a dance, and we've gotten better at it as we've done it longer. There are definitely times where we've stepped on each other's toes, so to speak, and it's really just been finding out how do we fit, who leads sometimes, who follows, and it's evolved in the years that we've been doing it, but it's certainly gotten better.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is as a couple, it's communication and really being able to honor each other's strengths and weaknesses and be able to hold space for that and being open. So it's literally, I could have a fight with Sam and just say, as a husband right now, I might be pissed. I mean, as a wife right now, I may be pissed at you, but I know that you're my best friend. So that's still always going to be a foundation. And it's funny, in chiropractic school, someone asked, would you ever marry a chiropractor? And I was like, no.
I was like, never.
Never.
When does that question come up? People
Yeah.
always ask, would you marry a realtor? And I'm like, no. I don't know. Maybe. I've never really thought about working with a significant other. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your business and what you guys do and what makes you guys so special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're actually experts in drug-free mental health and chronic pain care. So our practice specifically focuses on helping those that struggle with things like anxiety, depression, neurodevelopmental disorders like ADHD or autism in kids and adults, as well as those struggling with chronic pain.
Yeah, and what's really cool is we combine, the foundation is chiropractic, and we also bring in something called functional neurology. So that's about looking at the person's whole being and how their nervous system is functioning and being able to identify weaknesses and imbalances. And from there, we start to create specific cares that helps to drive a more balanced nervous system, essentially.
So it's really looking at the full picture.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What keeps you guys motivated? What's that inspiration to get up every day and keep doing this?
Truly, I mean, it's about helping people. Like, that's really why we got into this, was to serve and help people overcome their major health challenges. So seeing somebody have a breakthrough is what's incredibly motivating. Seeing somebody who's been struggling with something for years. Imagine the person that has massive anxiety when they want to go out and live the life that they want to live, but they're constantly canceling plans or avoiding and losing friends and everything. And all of a sudden, they meet us, their life starts to change as we change their brain and their nervous system, and now, they're almost a completely different person. I can think of, for example, one of our clients, she totally restarted her life after she moved here to Colorado. She was a teacher, and she had just massive debilitating anxiety for most of her life. happenstance met her at a school function event where she was teaching, and she started care with us. And from the get-go, I mean, she started to see improvements and changes. And what transformed in her life was the fact that she's like waking up now. She's like, it's amazing. I don't wake up in a panic attack every single morning. I used to wake up and for 10 minutes I lay there just in this entire sense of everything collapsing in. She's like, that's gone. And she's gone from that to now she quit her job as a teacher and she has started her own meditation business to help the neurodiverse community.
She felt so comfortable, she let go of that stability in her life.
Yeah.
And it's enabled her to grow and seek out things maybe she wouldn't have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
I think too, there's a personal component to it too. So the biggest thing is we have a 5-year-old boy, and I feel like a lot of my life revolves around being a mom and being here at the practice. But it's, I think one of the greatest things that we both value and we talk about every time, we're always looking at how we're eating, we're always looking at how we're moving or how we're taking care of ourselves. And what I've come to realize personally is your health dictates the trajectory of everything that you do. Your relationships that you have, the things you're able to do. If you don't have function, if you don't have your mind together, if you feel like you're feeling disconnected, that's going to affect relationships in so many different ways. And I think, with Sam, when we were first starting off as a young couple opening up our practice, we were under so much stress, but not necessarily being able to better support ourselves until we started to delve into what we're doing right now, honestly. And I think that when looking back at it, it's, if you're under stress, it's so much harder to be able to be a mom or to be nice to each other even. And so that was a big factor for that. And I think, it's as long as we're modeling also as healthy parents and what we're doing, then we're also teaching that to our son. So that's a big factor.
Yeah, so you mentioned you guys have a 5-year-old. I have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And before we got started, we were talking a little bit about kids and how much you like working with kids and that's a part of your practice is working with them and parents. I know, like if my son were diagnosed with ADHD, he's only 3, so
Sure.
I don't know what age they do that at. But my first option I wouldn't necessarily want to go to medication right away. And it's nice to know there's other options out there. Can you talk a little bit about what that's like working with kids or some of the benefits that parents are seeing?
Yeah, kids are a blast. I mean, it truly keeps you young, first of all, because they don't have the inhibitions like us as adults to either say certain things or act in certain ways. So they're just it's super fun. But really, when we're looking at kids, the 2 biggest things we're looking at is, does their brain age match their chronological age? So is that appropriate? And then most importantly, is the brain balanced? So like with an ADHD kiddo, we may see certain things, big fancy medical terms here called frontal release signs, which tells us that the brain hasn't properly developed into the trajectory that it's supposed to. And then we're looking at, is the brain really imbalanced? So think of like having a 4-wheel drive car, and if one wheel's spinning super fast and the one's not spinning so fast, we want to get both of those going at the same RPMs to get traction to go forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine you're doing this and you hear either interesting stories or you just have this one story that sticks with you that's been very memorable over the years.
Yeah.
What would that be for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, several. We shared one about one of our clients, but I mean, in terms of the kid world, the biggest one for me was working with a young boy who was diagnosed with autism and he was nonverbal, so he couldn't talk. And working with him, and we got him to talk. And that was the coolest thing. Yeah.
So literally just got goosebumps. I didn't see that coming.
Yes. Literally the coolest thing of watching a kid not be able to communicate, his needs, his wants, his desires, or anything, and to go from that to he can look at his mom and say, "I love you," right? And as a parent, your heart just explodes when you hear that. So yeah, they're one of the coolest things.
Yeah, I don't think it gets any better than that.
Yeah.
So we talk about kids. Who else seeks out your service and what you guys do?
Moms. I think the biggest thing too is oftentimes I can relate to the population obviously because as moms it's so easy to put kids first, put family first, work first, and then when it comes down to it, then it's more of recognizing, hey, I'm not sleeping through the night, or it's feeling low in energy or feeling like I've had clients where they come in and they can't even stand to be in the same room as their kids and they feel completely guilty because they just feel like something's wrong with them. And so I think, you know, one of the other bigger populations that we see is our moms coming in, women, actually high-performing women too, who juggle family life as well as...
So they've got 20 balls in the air.
Yeah, 20 balls in the air, that's really what it is. And so, you know, most of the time when women come in, they're really struggling with mental health. And that's showing up as sleep deprivation or insomnia. That's showing up as headaches and migraines. That's also showing up as brain fog as well too. And so it's eating away at how they're even performing, being able to recall what to say or being able to recall everyday words, or it's affecting their ability to multitask. And so one mom I can think of in particular, amazing woman, and just really, she came into, her name's Melissa, and she came in and she felt where she couldn't be in the same room as her son. She couldn't even drive here. She couldn't drive for, I think, a year or two. She was pretty much stuck at home. And I think the hard part was she couldn't hold a job. It was hard for her to be able to feel like she could have a relationship with her son, who's 9. Yep. And didn't feel safe about driving. So people had to drive her around to support her. And I think one of the biggest things that struck to me was when she came in, I'm a low functioning woman. That was what her mindset was.
I've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah. Huh. And it was one of those where it broke my heart, because this is a very intelligent woman. And very, in that sense, I wanted to tell her, you're high functioning. It's what you've bought into over the years and the patterning. And so anyways, long story short, you know, being able to work with her through chiropractic and through functional neurology, she's now able to drive she loves going camping. She drives all the way down to Pagosa Springs with her son and her husband. They love being able to...
What a big change.
A big change, yeah. She drove herself here, she drives herself here, she has a job, she's an amazing therapist, massage therapist, and it's great because it's being able to bring back life. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Very cool. So what's on the horizon for you guys?
Oh man. I think it's a continual journey. I think when you think about brain-based health, brain-based approach, it's about continuing to go down the rabbit hole. So we're always bringing in just a more refined approach to supporting our current clients as well too. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things you're doing right now is through brain driving as well too. Is tell a little bit more about what you do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, more generally, I think the biggest thing for us on the horizon is trying to get the word out about this.
Oh yeah,
I mean, especially as healthcare has changed, especially over the last couple of years in the pandemic, people are looking at all kinds of options out there, what they can do to improve their own health, right? Like everybody has really questioned that in the past 2 years.
Without an injection or a pill or...
Right. Yeah. It's just what they're looking at, what can I do to develop myself and my own health and well-being? And we're standing here as a solution and option for that. And I truly believe as one of the most cutting-edge offices in the state and in the country, it's like, hey, we're here, we have science back behind what we do, we have the results for it, and we're here to help and serve people and really help them achieve a greater quality of life than they ever thought was possible.
Very cool. Yeah. Is there something maybe that people don't know about your business or that they don't really think about as far as what you guys do that we can maybe clarify a little bit?
I think that's the biggest factor is oftentimes people are always surprised, oh, I didn't know that you can help me with sleep. I didn't know that you can help me with anxiety.
Yep.
I didn't know that you can help me with stage fright. Some people get frozen with, doing their day-to-day work is actually, I can think of one client in particular that gets immense anxiety right before a large meeting in front of a group of people. And those little aspects of performance every day, people don't necessarily think of chiropractic. Traditionally, we are perceived as supporting just low back pain, degeneration, things like that, more structural aspects of our body. But there's a lot more. It's more looking at the software. And when we're thinking about mental health, such as anxiety or depression or even ADHD, oftentimes we know of medication as an option or maybe therapy. There's a much more about, hey, what can we do about retraining the brain, rehabbing the brain, and that's a big factor. So that's, a lot of people don't know about that.
Thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate you being on this show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If any of our viewers want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, best way is to give us a call at the office. Phone number 720-667-3650. That's the easiest way.
And yeah, you can also check out our website, WP Optimal Living at WPOptimalLiving.com. And then there's also, if I can share,
Yeah, please.
We also have a sleep workshop that's coming up on September 29th at 6:30 p.m. And that's open to the public, and that sleep workshop is in combination of yoga, yin yoga, and brain talk, so brain health. So it's going to be
very
fun.
cool. So you guys come check that out. You guys had also mentioned a webinar that's available.
Yes.
How can people access that?
Yeah, so you can also visit the website for that, or actually text us or call us, and we're happy to send you the registration link for that as well too. But it's an webinar that you can access anytime, and that specifically is talking about a brain-based approach to overcoming anxiety and stress, chronic stress.
Very cool. Thank you both again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For all the viewers out there, thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Live Local. My name is Sean Savitt with LIVLOCAL Real Estate. If you're interested in being featured in one of our episodes, reach out to me today. I'd be more than happy to make that happen. If I don't hear from you, I will see you on next week's episode. Have a great day.